We're kicking off with just this because it's fresh. Anthony Smith was on the MMA Hour earlier this week. Had a few things to say about you. Did you see his comments, Kobe?
Yeah. I mean, he's a total mark. You know, the guy he hasn't beat anybody that wasn't 10 years past their prime. That coming off the steroids. You know, he's on what, a 3-fight win streak, and he was just getting knocked out by 85ers. So, I mean, the guy's a complete joke. I mean, everything he's saying. Oh, we were in a gym, dude. You never came up to me in the gym. Like, you trained on the opposite side of the gym. Who's the bitch? You know, like. The guy's irrelevant. You know, he shouldn't even be fighting for a title. But hats off to him, man. He's getting a title shot. But I'm gonna stick to winning belts. He's never gonna be winning a belt, so that's something we ain't gonna have to worry about. I'm gonna stick to winning belts and go to the White House. You know, I could give a fuck less about the guy. You know, he's a junior. You know, he's not on my level. He has, you know, he shouldn't be talking to a king. You know, he's never gonna win a belt. He's never gonna go to the White House. So, you know, the guy's on an amateur and he shouldn't even be fighting for a title. But he's in one of the weakest divisions in the UFC. So hats off to him. He gets his show up money to take a loss, and that's the end of him. We're focusing on me. I got a belt. You know, I'm defending that belt, and I got big things on the horizon. I could give a fuck less what happens if he comes up and does something. He'll get put on his head real quick if he tries to start something with me. It's good for them, man. I'm happy for him. That's good. You know, they need to keep that energy, keep trying to make money. That's what it's all about. This is a business, so you know, hopefully they can be smart and entertaining, which is something he's not, and he'll never know about. He doesn't know how to promote a fight, and he's a complete mark. He's talking about, you know, pretty much promoting me while he's got the biggest fight of his life in a title fight. So these guys are all jobbers. They don't know what they're doing, and that's why, you know, they're company men. You know, that's something I'm not. I'm self-made. UFC never, you know, made me. I built myself. I called my own shot to the White House. I won my own title, you know. So, you know, I know how to do the business, and this is the entertainment business.
They've got the big matchup at UFC 235, Usman and Woodley. But who do you think he'll be fighting for the title if this fight happens in Chicago? Do you believe Woodley beats Usman, or do you think Usman wins? And sort of, I guess in a lot of ways, it's a negative because there's so many fans that want to see you fight Woodley.
Yeah, Woodley's gonna starch Usman for sure. I mean, it's a boring fight. It could go 5 rounds and just be a bore fest, and Woodley just back up to the cage and land his shots when he needs to. But you know, he's a more experienced fighter. You know, Snoozman hasn't even beat a guy coming off a win yet. All his guys he's beaten are guys off losses. So, you know, he's inexperienced. He's not ready for the moment, and he barked up a tree that he's not ready for. You know, he's not on that level. So he's going to get knocked out, and hopefully I can unify my title with Woodley and finish his career sometime this summer.
What did you make of Usman sort of getting upset at Ben Askren in the back? I think he was calling him Marty or something, and Usman sort of couldn't really take it in stride. He got very upset. Did you see that video, and what was your reaction to that?
No, I don't pay attention to anything those jobbers do. You know, I mean, if anything, Askren was looking like a 36-year-old virgin, like a science teacher. What a joke he is. And then even the fact that Askren is calling Marty from Nebraska, that's a compliment to Marty. Marty's not even from Nebraska. He's from Nebraska-Kearney. He's a D2 scrub. He shouldn't even be on that spotlight. So, you know, he should be thanking Askren for calling him Marty from Nebraska, because he ain't even eligible to be a D1 athlete. He's a joke. He's got a Nebraska-Kearney.
Just quickly, while we're talking about Ben Askren, Colby, how do you think he'll do in his UFC debut against Robbie Lawler?
Oh, well, I mean, Robbie Lawler, the most significant strikes to the head in UFC history. I mean, the guy should have been retired multiple years ago. I mean, he's my training partner. He was a former training partner. He was a friend of mine. I like Robbie Lawler. Like, he's a good guy. He's a gamer. He's a warrior. But man, he needs to hang it up, man. Like, I'm telling him right now, Robbie Lawler, hang it up, man. Like you have nothing else to prove. You have all the money. You got a family. Keep those brain cells. Keep your brain health, buddy. But yeah, Lawler's too old. Askren's gonna go out there, probably grind out a decision, and that's that. We'll see what happens when the dust settles.
And now you're almost like Stone Cold Steve Austin in the Attitude Era. It's almost like you against the boss. What exactly is the latest as far as your return to action and obviously your relationship with the UFC these days?
Yeah, I mean, I made my relationship public. You know, I could give a fuck less about the UFC. I could care less about Uncle Fester. To be honest, you know, Uncle Fester just decides title shots these days. It's his little playground. You know, if you can get a title shot if you know he likes you and you go suck up to him and get some meetings with him and, you know, just pretty much be his little bitch. You know, so, you know, I don't have a relationship with the UFC. I could give a fuck less about the UFC, but You know, I deserve to be in the biggest fights. I have a title. No one's ever beat me for that title. You know, I'm America's champion. I'm the people's champion. So, you know, it is what it is. You know, we're going to move on to big business, whether it's in the UFC or somewhere else. I could give a fuck less. I'm an independent contractor, and I do whatever I want. No one tells me what to do. I'm my own boss, and the UFC knows that now. You know, they fucked me, man. Like, trying to offer me a fight on 4 weeks' notice, and I had a nose surgery. And then your UFC doctor, not my doctor. I went to your UFC doctor, and your UFC doctor said I couldn't fight back in September in Dallas. And now all of a sudden, oh, he couldn't fight. You know, he should have showed up to fight. You know, and they're all mad that their little contender, Daryl the Doughboy, got all his hype train derailed. So now they want to try and punish me for it. So, you know, it's a complete joke. You know, it's a circus. The UFC is so corrupt. It's a fucking joke, man. I feel so sorry for all these other fighters. Like, if they could do this to me, all these other fighters should see they could do it to anybody. You know, I got a belt. I went to the White House. You know, I had a great relationship with the UFC. You know, did a lot of things for the UFC. Flew all over the world. You know, fought for little paychecks. Never ever complained once. Did whatever they said. Showed up on short notice fights. You know, 2-week fight notice, everything. And so if they could do this to me, they could do it to anyone. So it's a complete joke right now in the UFC. Nah, he's a little child, man. He wouldn't even talk to me like after he made that decision, and I never even said anything to him. I was like, yo, let's just have a meeting. Let me come talk to you, explain like why you feel the way you feel about me, and let's talk this out and get this settled, you know. And they wouldn't give me a meeting. They give meetings to every single other fighter, but they wouldn't give me that meeting. So, you know, that's why I chose that route. I could give a fuck less about him anymore. I'm not here to make anybody happy. I'm here to do business. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money. So, you know, that they know what it is now, and if they can't let me do that, then they need to let me go and go do it somewhere else. So that's just where we are. I mean, from day one, you know, the UFC's never put up a picture of me, never promoted me, never did anything. And they say they want their stars to build themselves, and I did that exactly for them, and then they still treat me the way they did. It's unbelievable. You know, I'm a self-made man. I worked very hard to get to this point, and you know, I did it on my own. I never had any help from anybody. So, you know, for them to treat me like this, and it just makes me wonder and guess, yeah, what if I did have a promotion that was backing me and pushing me and you know, bringing me to my state? I remember asking for a fight in Oregon. I'm from Oregon. They wouldn't even give me a fight in Oregon. Like, it was ridiculous, you know. So, you know, it is what it is, man. That's the business, and I'm not losing any sleep over it, man. I can tell you what, I'm on vacation right now with all my ladies in Miami, man. We having a good night. We having a good time. We partying. I'm still making money. That's the thing about the UFC. They can't slow me down. I'm a personality now. I do whatever the fuck I want. If I'm gonna go to WWE, I might be in WWE soon. So, you know, I could give a fuck less if I ever fight in the UFC.